Welcome back to the Nose Plays Endless Space 2. We're going to be starting a new series today with the United Empire as requested by some of my viewers in one of my other videos. We'll probably do the first 30 to 60 turns, and I will go over basically my best understanding of the faction, its abilities, its synergies within the game mechanics, and hopefully be able to demonstrate some of those things. One of my viewers specifically requested a scenario where we don't get an ideal start. An ideal start for most players would be a lot of planets in the opening system that are either fertile or temperate, because that just provides a massive industry boost for the United Empire. And so maybe we'll get a role where we won't get that, and we'll get a chance to demonstrate that. But let's see what we get. So, playing a little bit of United Empire over the last week or so just to get my bearings with them again. It's been a long time since I played them. When I first bought the game back when it first released, the United Empire was the first faction I played, and primarily, probably 80% of my games were played with them back then. Since the Vaulter DLC has released, I've since spent a lot of time playing with the Vaulters, and then more recently with the Horatio, after being inspired by SB's Horatio series. But United Empire is always a fun one to play and a good one to come back to. I have a much better understanding of the game mechanics, and particularly the United Empire's game mechanics, so we'll be looking at that. Let's take a look at what we have. So we'll start by taking a peek at our system, and we definitely got a pretty good start here. So this is a Terran, temperate fertile. This is the world that you'll always start on. I believe, I could be mistaken on this, but I'm fairly certain that you'll never get curiosities or strategics on this first planet. It will always be this right here, exactly like it is. And then these three systems will always be, or these three planets within this system will always be random. This in particular is fantastic. A temperate fertile world with strategic and a luxury resource right off the bat is pretty amazing. This world, while not particularly great in the early game, it does have a positive anomaly which offsets some of the negative approvals, so we could still kind of put some people on here and not take a big hit. But it is also temperate, so this is actually going to provide a pretty big boost in the early game to our industry. And then obviously the Ash world, while not as fantastic in terms of just the bonuses we'll get from Xeno industrial infrastructure, still is a fairly high industry world, and once we get some people on it, we'll be able to produce a lot more industry. So this is actually a pretty solid starting system. I don't know if they've changed the algorithms at all to make it so that you're less likely to get a completely crap system. I can remember in recent memory getting a system that was pretty garbage with like 3 cold worlds that none of which were tier 1s or tier 2s, or sorry, tier 0s or tier 1s, like something like a snow Arctic ice. I think I've rolled that before. But maybe we should roll again. Because I think this is way powerful. This is a super powerful start, having 2 tier 0 planets right from the get-go. Well, we'll go ahead and play the first 10 turns of this and see how it goes. So I'm debating on my strategy with this. I need to sit down and do the math on this at some point. But let's see, 8 turns to make that, or 12 turns. It may even be less than 12, but let's assume that it's 12. That means that I'm delaying 4 turns worth of xeno-industrial infrastructure. 4 turns of xeno-industrial infrastructure is going to provide me with 30 industry times 4, which is 120 industry. 7 turns of drone networks is going to give me 70 of that back, plus 70 food. That's 140 FIDs. That's actually more FIDs that we're going to get back than we lose by doing it the other way around. So I think this is actually still the proper play. The food is useful anyways, and the industry might take a turn off of this, which reduces the rates even more in our favor, I think. I'll sit down with a spreadsheet and do the math on this at some point just to see, for those of you who like to min-max like I do. But obviously, as soon as we get this building down, this becomes incredibly valuable. And then cerebral reality, we'll just queue these buildings up because we're going to need them all eventually. And that's just the way that I like to roll. Now let's see what we got here. Blue cap mold and gigalattice. Gigalattice, those are going to be our 2 boosters. So Imperial booster of blue cap mold. We can look and see if we can't find some blue cap mold somewhere. The one thing that I have become aware of, and I think SB just noticed this in his last Cravers video that he just put out today, but the initial approval that you see is not actually what your approval will be in most cases. What will happen is after turn 1, you will get a bonus to your approval of +8 for the political party actually leading in the political representative pool. And because of that, you'll get +8, I believe it is, approval. So we're actually sitting at like 58. We're not sitting at 50. A reduction in approval for one of these laws doesn't really affect us positively or negatively in terms of approval. It's not going to drop us below a threshold, or we're not going to likely raise above a threshold anytime soon. So it makes sense if you're going to open a game and you don't have anything better to do to go ahead and throw one of these on. This will give us a significant boost to our science. So if we want to look at our total science, there's 2 places you can do that. If you go here, this will show you the total for all systems after bonuses are calculated in there. And then there's also a location here on the victory screen where you can see it down here. This is your total science output per turn. So we're currently at 22. Our approval is going to stay in the content even if we pass this law. But it's going to raise us up to 31. So we've basically, almost increased our thing by about 30%. So a 30% increase to science is pretty good for absolutely no penalty to our other outputs. The one thing that we need to watch out for is if our approval were to drop below content, we would start receiving a penalty to our food, influence, science, and dust outputs. And so gaining a little bit of science to take a hit on everything, including science, is probably not a good idea. So you'll want to end that law before that happens. But that shouldn't happen anytime soon because our population is not going to cause negative penalties as we grow, and there aren't many other things in the early game that are going to affect us in a negative way. So I think this is the right way to go ahead and start in terms of getting our system and our government set up. In terms of our next tech, the things that we want to focus on in our next couple of techs are going to be our ability to grab more planets within our own system and within ones that we might find as we start searching. We definitely want to unlock better engines and nano repair bots are less important at this point, but better engines are pretty useful. And what I like to do is potentially plan a route with my first set of scouts where I actually come back to my home system and pick up better engines before going out again, and maybe even refitting into better probes if I happen to come over to this tech for some reason, because these are really good probes, much better than the ones you start with. Because we have two really nice worlds with lots of food to start with, I think that this has less value. This has more value if you're stuck with a bunch of systems that are cold or hot and they don't provide as much food as the temperate worlds do. But because we have two temperate worlds to start with, this technology isn't as critical. We can't get onto mining this right away, but this is definitely something we're going to want. I don't think we're going to want it first. I think this is almost always going to be your first technology that you pick up, mainly because of this building providing you 30 science, which basically, starting at turn 1, if we were able to get this building down quickly, we would essentially double our science output just from this building. And it'll actually provide 60 very quickly once we colonize that other system. So we're going to go ahead and grab that, move it to the front of the queue. We're 5 turns away from that, 9 turns away from that. If we come in here and we look, we're not going to be able to grab this planet for almost 17 turns. Now, that will be reduced significantly as we produce these 2 buildings. But 9 turns would be the soonest that we would want to get those done, because that's when we'll start being able to mine this. And I think that sets us up for the first few turns. Now on to fleets, and this is really important. The very first thing that you want to do when you're playing with United Empire, if you're going to put your hero on a fleet, which I would almost always recommend. And before we do that though, let's just look at, see, we don't have any curiosities in this system. Excuse me for just a second. Okay, sorry about that. So this is not typical. Getting 0 curiosities in your opening system means that our hero is going to have a slower start. Let's take a look at our hero and Dmitry Lenko. Dmitry Lenko is a counselor and an imperial, obviously. Counselors have some interesting bonuses, but I don't think that they make great military leaders, although they do have an early damage bonus on fleets. So if you wanted to spec them for a fleet commander, there are worse options. But they also have this benefit. You start with additional approval. And the approval, remember, is a key asset to the United Empire, more so than other factions. And so this actually means to me that I really want to get this guy down in my system. A very tiny amount of dust can be boosted here. And then also your generic food and industry if you do decide to go with a governor. If you decide to go with a hero that stays out on your fleets, a fleet commander, I would recommend highly that you put your first 2 skill points into this skill, plus 8 experience per turn on fleet, and +2 vision range on fleet once you get both of those points in there is not insignificant. This will assure that the hero levels up rather quickly, even if you're unable to scout curiosities, which is also one of the key ways that you level up a hero. And furthermore, it also levels up any fleets that are with this hero, increasing their stats and making them more combat efficient into the game. So this is one of the few stats at the very early offset of the game that actually has a major impact in the mid game. While if I take these, they don't really do me anything. They don't do me any good at all in the early game. And while they are still beneficial in the mid to game, I can get them faster by taking this first. So I would always take this first. I will benefit immediately from the vision range and immediately from the experience gain, and it will allow me to grab these traits more quickly once I need them. So this is what I would focus on if I were going to make him a fleet commander, which I'm not sure that I'm going to do yet. I'm more interested in keeping him as a governor at this early part, just because the influence is incredibly useful. That means that we don't have any probes to really launch on our system, so we can go ahead and launch these two down star lanes and see if maybe we find something good. And then the next thing that we can do is we can edit this design. And there are two ways to go about editing this design. But there's not a whole lot you can do with it. One thing that I like to do with this ship is go ahead and make it a little bit more combat ready, because I do plan to play a little bit more aggressive with my fleets in the early game. And so I like to go ahead and grab a second cannon and a shield. And I'll tell you why I like to do that a little bit later. But I prefer shields in the early game, especially if you're going to go with kinetics. And I think that this is probably the best opening design for your fleet, or for these patrol ships. So we're going to go ahead and... Oh, we didn't actually save it. Let's try that again. Put that there, and a shield there, and apply that design. But one thing that we do need to do, because our patrol ship has a movement of 6 and our hero does not, we need to go ahead and add our hero to this patrol, and then we want to edit his ship. And notice my movement is only 4 currently. I need a second engine to get it up, and I also need another set of probes. This is going to allow us to get probes more quickly, and will be very useful to us in the early game and scouting more efficiently. I don't think that there's anything else we really need to do, so we're going to go ahead and apply that design, and that's about all we can do at the moment. Now we do have 2 more probes we can launch. And we need more dust to upgrade this. So we're going to have to come back here to upgrade this. Hopefully we have our better engines by then. But we have 2 more probes, so let's go ahead and launch one down this lane. And then looking at our galaxy, we'll just kind of launch one out this way. In fact, we can kind of see that this lane's going to head that way, so we're going to launch one like that. And this should give us a pretty good idea of what's around us. We did uncover this system already, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. We have a huge atoll, a tiny tundra with a bunch of curiosities, and a huge barren. This has dark glitter, so that's a source of income for us essentially, since we don't have any minor factions that use dark glitter. +3 dust, +2 approval, and it's 8 food per turn. I think this is a system that we definitely want to consider colonizing first. So we're going to go ahead and queue up, not the hero, but the other ship, the patrol, or the settler. We can get over there turn 1, and we can go ahead and start immediately colonizing this system. The food bonuses on this planet are pretty good, so it won't take incredibly long. We don't have the dust to boost this yet, but we will be able to probably accumulate the influence to boost this, and this might be even better than the dust. This will take 12 turns if we were to do that. I think this is actually going to give us even faster, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright, I think that pretty much wraps up turn 1. We're going to send this guy down one of these 2 lanes depending on which curiosities we uncover. If we don't find anything, we'll go over here and uncover those 3 just to get the XP. But then we may be heading back the other way. So this is looking like a pretty good path in terms of XP. We can grab these 3, then go over here and grab whatever's over there. This is interesting. So we found Kairos, which is an interesting endless planet. It provides extra influence, which is very valuable to us, as well as some extra science and dust. It has a pretty unique little backstory here about gray goo. But it is currently a barren planet. I believe we are researching steppes currently. If I'm not mistaken, this is steppes. No, this is tundra. This would be steppes. So moving from here to here might be our next move. That gives us those better probes that I was looking at, and another option for colonizing a system with an endless world that's very useful. We definitely want to research that and get it going as soon as possible because the influence is particularly valuable to us. Let's take a look at Chang real quick. Yeah, tiny arid, small atoll. And some more curiosities. So, we definitely want to get these guys over here. And we're not going to have any probes immediately, so we're going to have to wait several turns. But we should get them back at a pretty good clip since we have 2 different ships renewing them. Remember, we don't want to get too far from our home system. We might want to make a loop back to here and re-equip those ships once we've uncovered some new technology for better ships. We're also going to be sending our hero back as a governor anyways, so there's that. Alright, so we got 2 probes, so we can go ahead and get 1, 2 of these. Okay. Early source of titanium's good. We're going to need both. Geothermic activity is actually a pretty good anomaly, even though it has a negative penalty. We'll wait another turn. And one thing that I forgot to do last turn, we could go ahead and equip this and shave off several turns from this by giving it a 20% boost to food. It'll also give us a big approval boost once it gets colonized, which is good for us. We need to wait a turn before we leave that system. That is going to slow our science down a little bit, but I think getting this system up and running a little bit faster is better. And we found Jadonics. So we're going to be able to colonize tundra, or yeah, colonize tundra planets very soon. This is going to be critical to getting, and hopefully this is, okay, it's an average deposit. Hopefully we could find some more Jadonics in this next system. If we do, Jadonics is definitely going to be our first tier 1 upgrade. We're going to need more than one source of it to really do that, though. Alright. So we have a couple options. We can increase our manpower to 800 in our global pool. And receive Punisher drives, which are pretty cool. Plus 10 damage on all ships. Just a global buff. We can collect 600 dust and gain a outpost, or we can search 10 curiosities for a daily slogan. I really kind of like doing one of these two. I know that other players prefer this one because it's easy because you're searching curiosities anyways. But if we're going to play kind of a more aggressive game with the United Empire, this might be useful. In order to do this, we're definitely going to have to make some sacrifices. But one thing that's true that I pointed out already is that our food output is pretty good, which means we're going to fill this pool up rather quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one. And we're going to take just a moment to look at our pool. So we can see right now our empire wide manpower is at 500. And I would love to see the breakdown of where these numbers come from. I'm not exactly sure, to be perfectly honest, why it's 500. But that's where it's at, and we're going to need to increase that by 300 in order to finish that quest. I think the abilities that are most useful to us are going to be the approval. So we can start using approval to buy things out. And another 3 curiosities. More Jadonics, so this is a critical system for us as well. And we already can colonize atoll planets, so we'll be colonizing that one next. That was an abundant deposit, so that means it's even more valuable. So we're definitely going to try to get over there soon. One thing to keep in mind, putting an outpost on a planet with luxury or strategic resources that you know how to collect will start collecting them even before you finish your colony. So in this case, we are actually getting the 1 dark glitter every turn from this, even though we have not finished it. We're not trying to save up dust for that quest, so I think spending dust here is going to cut this in half. Yep, and so that's probably worthwhile. I don't think we need to use this as well. I would rather save that up for something else. Alright, be the first to search 10 curiosities. We'll have 6 here shortly. We might be able to complete this quest and get a nice stockpile of titanium. And our technology has been completed. We don't need to rush to the steppe world because we're going to go ahead and colonize this one second in Cheng now. So I think going on to plasma metallurgy is fine, because we want to start bringing in that Hyperium deposit that we do have. think you're just waiting. Yep. Okay. Grab that. More jade onyx. An average deposit on an arid world. So arid is becoming a valuable thing for us now. Unfortunately, Ranus doesn't have any. I would say that it would be a good idea to go here, here, refit, and then to Ranus, but we might have to do something a little bit different. So let's go ahead and head this way for now. How many? Just the one curiosity in this system. Okay. This has a Mediterranean planet. Another molten springs. We can send this probe like that. And then I think we want to send our ship home. But before we do that, we are one turn away from being able to move our governor. Public-private partnerships probably can go after cerebral reality, and we definitely need another settler in here soon. I'm wondering if it might be beneficial to just send him down this lane and search some more curiosities before coming back. Hard to say. Libra. Not a great world, and only one curiosity. We're close to hitting level 3. We have 3 turns before Xeno-industrial infrastructure gets built. We could bring him back now, but I'm going to wait and grab this curiosity and then bring him back right before Xeno-industrial infrastructure gets built, so that when it gets built, we get the credit for it, and that might push him into his next level. Not much else we can do here. This is about to become a colony for us, and hopefully very soon. Okay. Need 1. 2 turns. This will work out quite nicely. So we'll come over here, we'll grab these curiosities, and then we'll bounce back and get Xeno-industrial infrastructure under our belt as well. -5 science on Empire with a chance to grab things, or 75 dust. I think I'm just going to take the dust and the militarist. We want to keep militarist close to being in power. Alright, new technologies. We talked about maybe grabbing a barren world. I don't think that's a priority anymore because we're not looking at that endless world quite this early. There were some ash worlds that we needed. So there's one here. a barren world here and a tundra world here. Desert and arid. So the arid was the next one I really thought we might want to grab. I believe arid is this technology. We're not really in need of the debris analyzer or the Mediterranean colonization tech. But this might be good. We don't really need the ability to hyperdrive out of our constellation yet. So I think I'm going to go ahead and queue that one up. A barren world, not so good. Yeah, we're not... Be the first to possess 20 star system improvements for a large cache of Jadonics is definitely worth our time if we can get it. That means we're going to have to minimize building ships for a little while. Alright, so we did manage to level up. Take a second point into that, which will give us a nice little boost to our output on our influence. And let's go ahead and get this colonized. Yep, something like that looks good. And we definitely want to get this settler out a little bit sooner now, so we're going to move him up in the queue just a few turns. We have one more probe that we can send out. Maybe like that. And go ahead and bring you home. And I think we're even going to bring this ship home to refit. We found no minor civs yet, so we definitely want to refit this guy and get him ready for combat. We're going to see some pirates drop here very soon. They're probably going to drop on one of these systems. Hopefully not Chang, because that's the one we really want to grab. But there's not much we can do about it if they do happen to land there, other than kick them off. Alright, so you can see we shaved a lot of turns off of all of these things now. And I forgot, because we got our new colony up, but we don't have any new colonies currently in the works, we should probably go back to this. Maybe. We might need to switch our laws back and forth here. So we can get one turn. One turn of cram for exam, and then we'll switch to fleets. And I'm actually going to build another one. Okay. So that one turn of cram for exam was kind of pointless. We could have gotten a couple turns, but we're going to abolish that. Put the lower fleet costs in now.
Welcome to the Sophonity. There are some among us who doubt your intellectual chops.
Okay.
Please.
They've got a scout over here, which means they're probably down this star lane. We'll want to deal with them. Somebody else achieved the 10 curiosities before us, unfortunately. And we can see that this greatly reduced the time of this. In fact, so much so that we may want to go ahead and build a fleet of 4 patrols so that we can handle pirates right away. 4 patrol ships and a single fleet is not going to tackle pirates necessarily, but it'll at least give us the option of trying. I still haven't seen a pirate drop yet, which has me a little bit worried. Don't quite have enough influence to buy anything out just yet. So we're going to try and get our patrol ship over here. That's a 2-turn journey. I don't think we can reduce that with better engines. So we're just going to go ahead and go for it. And we're going to pay to upgrade this ship. Send out some probes. So we've already sent one out as far as that will go. Maybe we send one out this way. And maybe out this way. Just to uncover what's over there. I don't see any need to attack his ship. I don't see that going well for us. Well, let's take a look. My ship is 72 with 187. His ship is 36 with 110. We could damage his ship and maybe make his ship retreat. He has no defenses. But I don't think it's worth damaging our own ship in the process. Alright, no pirates yet, still. So that means we're definitely going to go ahead and grab Chang, which is great for us. Start bringing in that Jade Onyx. And looking to get our level 1 system development up and running as quickly as possible. This is pulling food from Fidus. We could pull food from here instead. We have much higher food capacity here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and confirm that for now. It'll take longer for the food to get here. But we have the resources to go ahead and do both of these things, so I think we will. Actually, maybe we do pull the food from Fidus. No, this system definitely needs less growth than this one at this point. This will be the core of our empire right here. We might even grab all 5 of these systems as our core. We've got a ton of dark glitter. Look at all the dark glitter. There's dark glitter on every one of these. We will be pumping out a lot of dark glitter, potentially. But the Jadonics is what I'm more interested in, and it looks like we've grabbed all the Jadonics in this region so far. So that's really good on us. Population is decreasing. Okay. Well, we don't want that to happen. So we have 1 turn to fix this. I don't think we can. Well, we can by possibly switching this back to here. And now we're not pulling that much food from here. This is still positive growth as well. So I guess that's what we're going to do. I would rather not lose a population, even if it does mean longer time on this. So we have our second patrol ship. So we're going to go ahead and merge these guys together. And then I'm going to edit my ship design because we got better engines. So we're going to go ahead and throw better engines on here. We did see that his initial ship had slugs, but it was the basic ship design. He hadn't upgraded it or anything like that yet, so I'm going to just leave it as is. We don't have anything better we can equip on here yet. And that's going to cost us a little bit of dust, but we have some, so no worries there. We're going to send these 2 ships this direction, and then the other 2 that direction. And if we need to group them up to deal with pirates at some point, we can. As soon as we finish building our ships, we're definitely going to want to we're definitely going to want to switch our law. So in a 1 turn, I want to do that. They're blockading this system. They don't like the fact that we are trying to take it, so we're going to have to push them off. And that's one of the reasons why I went ahead and I made some more ships. One thing that I did notice that's becoming a problem is our dust, because we're building a military. Our military expenses are getting quite large. So in order to handle that, we're going to go ahead and grab galactic commodities. That will then allow us to start selling all this dark glitter and make a significant gain in dust. Even if we're running negative, we should be okay once we sell off our commodities every turn. You really want to go this route, do you? I mean, that's fine with me. We're going to be better off with a long range tactic. He's probably going to go medium range. Even if he goes medium or short range, we're going to be better off going with a long range, because we're going to do more damage to him in that first round of combat than he'll do to us, and we want to take as little damage as possible. I'm going to go ahead and watch this just because we haven't watched one yet. And he retreated, so yeah, he knew that was a bad play on his part. We're going to go ahead and blockade this for now. we not have any probes? Did I goof? Oh, I sure did. Well, that's embarrassing. I'm so used to putting the engines at the back of ships that I didn't realize my probe was back there, and we have a lot of movement speed now. So I guess we'll just wait here until... Well, this might be considered a friendly system. Let's see. It is. Alright, so we'll do that. We'll send out a couple probes there. There, and there. That should be good. Alright, we can see he retreated that direction now. We did end up catching this system. Let's take a look at it. Small ocean with titanium deposit and a bunch of curiosities. So this is where other fleet will head for now. Pick up any curiosities that we missed along the way. And we needed one more turn to get that done. So we'll go ahead and bankruptcy. Well, that is a problem, isn't it? Cancel. Does disbanding them reduce our cost? It does not. Alright, let's see. Is there anything we can do to increase our dust? It does not appear to be the case. Super Tax Act. Alright, we'll have to run the Super Tax Act for a little while. Hopefully not too many turns. We should be good. We're only going to play a couple more turns before we end this video today anyways. We need to get at least 9 turns out of this Super Tax Act before we get Galactic Commodities Exchange, and then we can start using that. I guess the question is now, do we want to run down this lane? With these ships, we might as well. My one concern is that he's going to send another fleet to blockade this and prevent us. Prevent us from getting it quickly, but I don't think that's going to be the case. We are going to get Cerebral Reality, so that's going to help. Get our patrol ships out and head to wherever we can find some curiosities. I don't see any anywhere until we get to there. Oh, darn it. Okay, well, I goofed, so we're gonna have to make a U-turn and grab our better engines.
Yeah? Why are you knocking around?
You know what? We're not going to ask you to halt your attacks, because I'm not going to halt mine either. Do we want to just go with this? I guess we're just going to go with this. I should have changed those engines out, but... And this is what I was afraid of. So he decided to turn right around and come directly back, and he's going to blockade this again. Well, hopefully our ship has better engines than his ship. pirates here. Okay. High energy plasma sphere. We could get a ship if we search these curiosities at some point. But we're gonna have to come back and deal with this. I could send off this probe. Wait. We could search one of them now. I think I'd rather send off the probe and see if we can't find something. Let's send it that way. Try to get some more information on what's going on over there. Oh, this is going to be a pain because we're going to have the... We'll take a look at that in a moment. I want to make sure I click this so I don't get attacked by pirates. Okay. Galactic Commodities Exchange in 5 turns. How much dust are we collecting currently? 3 plus 12 is 15. That would put us at negative if we drop the tax act, potentially. So we're going to have to continue to run with it for the moment. I do have enough influence in the next couple of turns to buy something out. I think I want it to be Xeno-industrial infrastructure on our next colony. So we're going to wait. This is going to be done in 5 turns, but we're going to get a load of food here soon, so it might be even sooner than that. So I think we'll play until we get that colony, and then we'll end the video for today. Hopefully he didn't attack. Okay, he did not. He did not attack or blockade, but we're going to attack him. And this time he's going to be forced to fight. He chose Get Lucky, which is a short range tactic, so we'll open at long, which will be bad for him. It'll also be bad for us, but not as bad since we have 4 guns to his 1 or 2. Looks like he only has 1 gun on this ship. So this should go pretty much as expected. We'll open at long, we'll move to medium, and then we'll move to short. But because he's not going to ever have a chance to fire at short range, he's going to minimize the amount of damage that he does to us. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up just a little bit. And we can see he's already damaged. We're not hitting all that often at this point, but that's about to change. Okay, we're now in medium range. You're going to see our damage go way up. His damage will also increase, but he won't have much time to really utilize it. And because we never achieve short range again, he's going to do very, very minimal damage to any of our ships. So that ends that. He might be sending us a message of complaint. See if we can't grab this system with that probe. And I doubt there's going to be anything over there, but we can go ahead and send that one over that way. And we'll just continue to scout periodically. We kind of got lucky. It looks like there's no pirate spawns anywhere near us at all. So in some respects that's lucky, but
Your actions will only make the war more painful.
we'll see about that.
Your
Alright.
actions will only make the war
Yeah,
more...
they get more manpower generation. Whoop-de-doo. We gain 6 experience.
Your actions will only...
Yeah, we get it. Pain. It's coming. Alright. This is going to help tremendously. Getting that planet is going to increase the production of this system, and it's going to bring in some more Jadonics. We're already bringing in 3 a turn, which is pretty good. We need galactic commodities followed by 1 more of these technologies to get our system development and get into the next tier. We know we need this technology eventually because of the ash world on our home system. However, we are going to run into dust problems if we do not deal with getting some of these buildings. So it might be better to go ahead and grab one of those. But before I do, this is actually a better world in almost every way except for the dust. But by building that building, because there is a luxury resource here, the dust output on this world will actually be better than this world. So, and the industry output will be because of this. So let's plan on grabbing Astrofinance. And as soon as we get some of these things built, we'll move all of our population over to this system. We don't really need the approval building right now, do we? We're still content, but barely. This is largely due to the penalty we're getting from Super Tax Act. We would be at 53% otherwise. This building is losing its value at the moment. We are going to want to grab this planet and this planet in the very near future, just because per planet buildings are really strong. This one's going to benefit from that. This one's going to benefit from that. And both of the primary ones will be building here. So yeah, that one is definitely the one that we want to grab next. That's going to solve our dust issues probably for the near future. We'll do 1 or 2 more turns just until we get this system, and then I think we'll call it good. We weren't that many turns away from grabbing it. We finally found a miner sieve. Wow, they are way far away. Let's try to get above this line at least. You know what? We have a ton of influence. We'll go ahead and get here and maybe grab their quest and see. Having a system that far away from the rest of our systems is probably not the best thing in the world, but this will help with our taxes. Not a ton, but it'll give us a little bit more room. I guess since he hasn't sent another one down this lane yet, we could go back. And this ship finally made it all the way down here. 1, 2, 3. And probe down this lane. Hyperium. more dark glitter, and even more dark glitter. Alright, well. Go ahead and wait a turn. 2 turns until this is complete, but this will arrive, so we'll probably finish it this turn. If we're lucky. Astra Finance will be in 4 turns. Well, that's unfortunate. This ship made it, but it doesn't actually deposit its food. Lots of pirates over here. What in the world? How are these pirates in a hangar? I'm not sure where they're at. Maybe they're still en route. That's really weird. We'll send a probe that way. We'll send a probe that way. And we're going to go ahead and move off of this system over to here and grab those curiosities. We might even consider blockading this and trying to grab that system. How many turns do they have left? 22 turns until they get this done. Unfortunately, we can't really grab any of these planets, so I'm not sure that it makes a lot of sense for us to try to take that yet, but we'll go ahead and do this. This will finish this system off, and this will be a good place to end the video. Alright, so this is a 500 industry building. We would have been able to buy this out had we not spent all of our influence earlier. But what we could do instead is maybe buy out Cerebral Reality, which will help with our dust issues, and it will give us a little bit more science. I think that is well worth it. There is an anomaly here, so that actually has some value in this system. Getting that colonized also has some value, though not nearly as much. Not nearly as much as the other ones, because there's no fertile or temperate on this particular planet, but it does bring in this average deposit of jade onyx, which I definitely want. And in 3 turns we'll be able to do our system development with jade onyx, and we'll be able to grab all of these systems because we've collected enough of it already, I believe. Not quite, but we will by the time we get to that turn. So I believe it's 20 jade onyx per system for system development. That's going to be 60 extra industry, which is going to allow us to pump out our military machine here very soon. And we definitely going to want to look at colonizing another system, probably just grabbing more of these down here, maybe even going all the way down to Arkab, just because of the strategics. Strategics are very critical. If you don't develop a good income of them early, it can be detrimental to your mid-game. So that's what we'll be looking at for the next playthrough, where we'll do another 25 turns or so, and probably see about maybe doing one more. I like to do 2 or 3 before I move on to something else. So hopefully this was informative and you'll get a little taste of how I like to play the United Empire. Unfortunately, this didn't turn out to be a very rough start for us. In fact, we had a lot of really beneficial things, from our starting planet to having Jadonics and no pirates in this initial cluster. So maybe this wasn't um, the best way to showcase how to play when things are not going well. That being said, maybe we'll do another series on this, and I will specifically load games until I get what looks to be a bad start. Um, but until next time, this has been the Nose Plays, and I hope everybody has a great day.